My mother always said military service was for those who couldn't do better. My father called it a waste of potential. My brother sneered, insisting girls had no place in combat. None of them realized that while they dismissed my choices, I was becoming one of the youngest colonels in U.S. Air Force history. The Morrison family's annual dinner was in full swing. Crystal glasses chimed as relatives toasted my brother Michael's latest promotion at Anderson Global, where my father held a senior vice president role. The dining room of their suburban mansion buzzed with practiced laughter and polite applause as Michael recounted his climb through the corporate ladder. Junior VP of Operations at 30, my father boasted, raising his glass. That's the Morrison way. I sat silently, pushing food around my plate, recalling every time I'd been told I was ruining the family legacy by choosing the military over corporate success. A decade of accomplishments, medals, and promotions, yet here, I was still the failure who couldn't cut it in the real world. And you, Sarah? Aunt Patricia's voice was thick with fake concern. Still playing soldier? I met her gaze evenly. Yes, I'm still serving. My mother jumped in before I could say more, as if my career needed defending. Sarah's doing administrative work now. Something with computers, right, dear? By something with computers, she meant commanding the Air Force's top cybersecurity division and leading a team of over 300 personnel. But they didn't have clearance to know that, and I stopped trying to explain long ago. Such a pity, Uncle Robert said. With your education, you could have built a real career by now, making real money, like Michael. Michael grinned, raising his glass again. Hey, it's not too late, sis. I could probably get you an entry-level spot in my department. You know, something more fitting for a woman. The table chuckled knowingly. I gripped my water glass tighter, thinking about the classified briefing I delivered to the Joint Chiefs last week, the presidential commendation gathering dust in my office, and the operation I'd lead tomorrow, the one that would make headlines. Not that I'd ever get credit. Sarah just needs to accept that some people aren't cut out for the corporate world, my father said, his voice heavy with disappointment. The military is, well, a respectable fallback. Fallback. I almost laughed. They had no idea Anderson Global, my father's pride and joy, had been scrambling to secure a contract with my division for months. A contract I'd be reviewing tomorrow morning. I hear they're letting women be officers now, my cousin Emma piped up. Maybe you could aim for a promotion, Sarah. Sergeant, or whatever comes next. I held back the urge to correct her cluelessness about ranks. Let them believe what they wanted. Tomorrow would be interesting enough. Actually, my mother brightened suddenly. Sarah's friend James just launched a tech company. He's single, you know. Maybe it's time you settled down, dear. Found a nice man to take care of you, James? I barely hid my smile. They meant Major General James Harrison, my direct superior, and definitely not single, unless you counted his recent divorce from his husband. The same James who'd be walking into Anderson Global's boardroom tomorrow. I'm focused on my career right now, I said simply. My father scoffed. What career? Shuffling papers in some military office? You had so much potential, Sarah. You could have been someone. I stood slowly, placing my napkin on the table. I should get going. Early meeting tomorrow. Of course, Michael sneered. Wouldn't want to be late for roll call. As I walked away, my father's voice followed me. One day you'll see what you threw away, Sarah. The Morrison name used to mean something in this city. If only they knew, the Morrison name was about to mean something very different. Sitting in my car, I pulled out my secure phone and dialed a familiar number. Everything's set for tomorrow, Major. Yes, Colonel, came the crisp reply. Operations a go at 0900 hours. Anderson Global's board won't know what hit them. I smiled, imagining my father's face when he realized who truly held the power in that meeting. Excellent. Make sure all paperwork is in order. I want this by the book. Of course, ma'am, though I still think you should have told them. I watched my parents' house fade in the rearview mirror. They'll find out soon enough. Back at my apartment, not the modest military housing they imagined, but a penthouse with a view, I reviewed the files one last time. Anderson Global's cybersecurity was outdated, vulnerable. They desperately needed this contract, even if they didn't know just how badly yet. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Seriously, sis, think about that entry-level position. Better than wasting your life playing soldier. I set it aside and opened my laptop, pulling up the classified intelligence report that would rock their board meeting. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong, it's letting them realize it themselves. I opened my closet, pushing aside casual clothes to reveal my dress uniform, medals gleaming softly. Tomorrow, I wouldn't be Sarah Morrison, the family disappointment. I would be Colonel Sarah Morrison, commanding officer of the Air Force Cyber Operations Command and the one holding Anderson Global's future in my hands. My father always said the Morrison name meant something in this city. Tomorrow, he'd learn exactly how right he was, just not how he expected. I picked up a framed photo from my desk, me at 18, proud in my Air Force Academy uniform, while my family looked on with thinly veiled disapproval. 10 years, countless missions, and 3 promotions later, I was ready to show them what their fallback option had become. The next morning, I arrived at Anderson Global headquarters an hour before the board meeting. My dress uniform was flawless, medals and insignia perfectly placed. The security guard did a double take at my credentials. Colonel Morrison, are you related to? Yes, I said simply, I'm the VP's daughter. He straightened immediately, spotting my rank insignia. Ma'am, Major General Harrison is waiting for you in the executive conference room. Taking the private elevator to the top floor, I recalled the many times I'd visited my father's office as a child. Then, this building was a symbol of success. Now, it was just another step in my mission. James awaited, his own uniform demanding respect. Ready for this, Colonel? Born ready, sir, I replied, reviewing classified documents one last time. Board members began arriving at 8:45. My father entered last, deep in conversation with Michael, unaware I stood partially hidden behind a display screen. Let's get started, my father announced, taking his seat at the head of the table. As you know, we're here to discuss the military cybersecurity contract our technical team has prepared. Actually, James interrupted, standing, I'll be leading this meeting. He gestured toward me. Colonel, if you please. I stepped forward, blood drained from my father's face. Michael's smug smile vanished. The board members exchanged confused glances. Good morning, I said, my voice steady and commanding. I'm Colonel Sarah Morrison, commanding officer of the Air Force Cyber Operations Command. We're here to discuss serious vulnerabilities in your network security. Sarah, my father stammered. What is this? I clicked a button, projecting the classified report. 3 months ago, our team detected multiple breach attempts on your systems, foreign actors targeting your infrastructure, client data, and proprietary technology. Board members shifted uneasily. Michael stared at my medals as if seeing me for the first time. Your current security protocols are, I paused deliberately, inadequate. This contract isn't just business, it's a matter of national security. I advanced the slide, revealing their system's critical weaknesses. Several gasped. My father looked pale. Colonel Morrison, a board member asked, what are our options? My father tried to regain control. Wait a minute, Sarah, you can't just. That's Colonel Morrison, Mr. Vice President. James cut in sharply, and she absolutely can. In fact, she's the only one authorized to approve this contract. I outlined the terms, strict protocols, complete system overhaul, and regular audits by my team. The price tag made some wince, but they knew there was no choice. If you refuse compliance, I added, Anderson Global will be classified as a security risk, resulting in immediate termination of all government contracts. My father's jaw clenched. He knew exactly what my words meant, the end of Anderson Global as they knew it. The choice is yours, I said calmly. You have 24 hours. As the boardroom emptied, my father remained seated, stunned. Michael hovered at the door, his earlier smugness erased by disbelief. All this time, my father finally spoke. You were a colonel, head of cyber operations, the one holding my company's future? I gave a slight smile. All the things you said I could never be. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have listened? I asked, or dismissed it like everything else I've done? Michael took a hesitant step forward. Sis, I didn't know. Clearly, I cut him off. Oh, and that entry-level job you offered? I make 3 times your salary. That's just base pay. I gathered my documents and turned to leave. My father stood abruptly. Sarah, wait. Maybe we could talk just as family. I paused and looked him in the eye. Family? I said quietly. Last night, you told me I'd never be anything, that I was wasting my potential. Well, this is my potential, Dad. And today, I'm not your daughter, I'm a colonel doing her job. James appeared at the door. Ready, Colonel? The Joint Chiefs are waiting. Joint Chiefs? Michael muttered. Yes, I said. Turns out pushing papers leads somewhere. Later that evening, my phone lit up with messages. My mother, suddenly proud. Aunt Patricia, offering a clumsy apology. Cousins asking if I could help their kids get into the Air Force. I ignored them all, poured a glass of wine, and stepped onto my penthouse balcony, the one they never imagined I could afford. A week later, Anderson Global signed the largest contract in its history. The board quietly replaced my father, urging him into early retirement. Michael's department? First in line for security audits. I didn't attend the contract signing. I was in Washington, briefing Congress on emerging cyber threats. My father emailed me. I was wrong. You've become someone I never imagined. I replied with 2 lines. I didn't become someone, Dad. I always was, you just couldn't see it. 2 months later, I stood at a podium, wearing a star on my shoulder, the youngest brigadier general in Air Force history. The ceremony was packed with senators, dignitaries, military leaders. My family sat in the back row. My mother cried. My father looked like he'd been hit by a truck. Michael tried to salute, he got it wrong. At the reception, a young lieutenant approached me. General Morrison, she said, your speech, it meant everything. My family doesn't support my service either. I smiled, remembering that photo of 18-year-old me, standing tall in uniform while my family frowned behind me. Let me tell you a story, I said. It starts at a family dinner, where they told me I'd never be anything. She listened closely as I shared the rest. Around us, the room buzzed with conversation, my new world of generals, policymakers, and power brokers. Through the window, I saw my family huddled at a corner table, out of place in a world they never thought I belonged to. Sometimes, success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And sometimes, the path everyone tells you to avoid is exactly the one you were born to walk. I touched the star on my shoulder, remembering all the nights I studied while Michael partied, all the missions I completed while they attended galas, all the times I rose while they laughed. My father always said the Morrison name meant something in this city. He was right. Now it means something else entirely. Not power. Not privilege. But excellence. Service. And the courage to disappoint the right people so you can become the person you were always meant to be.